Hey, and welcome back to Christine Timmon, Gangster of the Constitution, U.S. Queen of Constitutional Law, being brought to you by BGN TV. I'm really happy to be out here with you guys today. We got some stuff for you today. We way ahead of the curve. Now, you guys remember when I be telling you all the things that are in the Constitution, and you never listen, you probably because you don't know any better. But the word asylum and the word amnesty is not in the Constitution. So I made hundreds of calls, it seemed like, to the Department of Justice comment line and about 50 or 60 people in the House and Senate. And I reminded them that if it is not in the Constitution, technically you can't do it. It has to be narrowly drawn. For an instance, if the United States want to do an amnesty, they can only do amnesty for the diplomats from foreign nations. Because I remember the day, when they had all those wars over in Europe, and a lot of the diplomats, they had to get up out of there, and they came to the United States. They couldn't bring the people. No, if anybody, a citizen got over here under asylum, it would be somebody like the Red Cross or some church or maybe somebody in their family. It was not done by the United States. What you're seeing done now by the United States has nothing to do with the Constitution. So when you see them talking about, oh, I got the Constitution right to amnesty and asylum, they're wrong. Where they get it from is the United Nations and the international organization and the world groups. They got with the Democrats, oh my goodness, about 60, maybe 70 years ago, and they started all this stuff. Opening the borders and diversity and humane. None of that stuff is in the darn Constitution. So finally, they got a chance to get this stuff all done and written into our laws, even though it's not in the Constitution. How they did that? The federal courts helped them, just like they do now. From time to time, the federal courts be right up in there helping the foreigners, and they're not supposed to do it at all. They ain't supposed to speak to them. So, wow. So as a result of me, I believe I had a lot to do with it because I know a lot of people. I make a lot of calls. I was so glad when Attorney General Jeff Sessions issued a zero tolerance at that border. Even if you call yourself coming for amnesty, you're just simply going to be arrested. And that's the end of that story. Like he said, it's that simple. And you will be separated from your children. And they're going to tell me, well, you can't separate us from our children. But if you rob the darn bank, you're going to be separated from your children. If you have to go to court for a traffic ticket, you have to spend 30 days, you're going to be separated from your children. And then they say, oh, well, you should let them get away with it because they just want to take care of their kids. Okay, so you go rob a bank to take care of your kids. Will you get away with that? No. See, all of this mollycoddling to these foreigners, this was all made up not from the U.S. Constitution, but from the United Nations and other world organizations, internationals they got with the Democrats. It wasn't the Republicans. No, 70 years ago, shoot, they just got halfway a piece of power about, 20 years ago. They weren't in any lead. Even when they had a Republican president, it really didn't matter because the Senate and the House was always Democrat with darn near enough for a veto override. And they could get a veto override by scaring some of the Republicans. They was bad. You have to give your enemy credit. So they put all this stuff in the law that's making us live the way we are. So as a result of what they're doing and with what's going on around that border, the Democrats, I'm telling you, they just behave so terribly when it comes around to stopping people from coming to our country. For some reason, they look like they want to destroy America. Have you seen California? It used to be one of the most beautiful states in the world. Oh my God, San Diego, Los Angeles, Oakland County, tent cities everywhere, no running water, sleeping on floors, no electricity. It's just become very, very primitive. The only people who got anything are the immigrants. And see, this is what the Constitution don't allow. So you see, the Constitution actually discriminates against immigrants. And that's why they don't want you to know it. But it's at a point now where it's almost critical mass. We almost got to send for the militia. So I'm going to show you a clip of the Texas militia. And I think one of the reasons that they didn't go through Texas. They went all the way 1,500 miles away to San Ysidro because they know the Texas militia might be waiting. So keep watching me on YouTube. But I'm going to take a little break. But you know I'm on YouTube. You can get me 24 hours a day on VGN Network. So we're gonna show you this clip of the Texas militia.
Make a big noise playing in the street. Gonna be a big man someday. You got mud on your face, you big disgrace. Kicking your can all over the place, singing, we will rock you. We will rock you. Buddy, you're a young man, hard man, shouting in the street. Gonna take on the world someday. You got blood on your face, a big disgrace, waving your banner all over the place. We will rock you. Sing it out. We will rock you. Buddy, you're an old man, poor man, pleading with your eyes. Gonna make you zombie someday. You got mud on your face, big disgrace. Somebody better put your bag into your place. We will rock you. Sing it. We will rock you. Everybody, we will rock you. We will rock you. All right.
there, Gangster Constitution, right back here with you. I hope you like that clip that I'm showing you on BGN Network of the Texas militia. You saw what it say. You come through here and we're going to deal with you, and it's not going to be cute. Look like they pulled out the helicopters, the planes, everything else. You notice the caravan didn't go anywhere near Texas. They ain't crazy. They went over there by San Ysidro only to have Jeff Sessions roll up in there and say, you're not going to get any type of asylum. The only thing you're going to get, if you cross over into here, you will get arrested. You could lose your children. We don't know what's going to happen to you. So the best thing for you to do is go on back where you came from. And, you know, the thing about this that irks me is, why is it the Democrats, what is wrong with them? Why do they want to continue this destruction of the United States? It's like they some kind of primitive savages just cannibalizing their own nation, setting up all of this stuff. You got to understand why I'm upset about this. I've been studying the Constitution so many decades, and I know that the founding fathers did not establish a way for foreigners to take over America. The way they wrote it, that foreigners have to come in through the states only. And you have to stay in that one state until you become a naturalized citizen. You can't even go out of state without permission. Well, the Democrats and the United Nations, they say poo-poo, no, we're not going to do it like that anymore. But they didn't get a ratification. See, if you want to do that way, that's the opposite of the Constitution. You have to get a 3/4 ratification from the state, all of them. They didn't get it. So the Supreme Court just let them do it anyway. And so that's what put us in the shape that we're in now. And then they're saying, well, my babies are citizens. That's not true. The Constitution says you must be born here or naturalized and already under jurisdiction of the United States to be a citizen, because they were not intending for foreigners to give birth to their own citizens and breed their own nation inside the United States like they're doing. And who pays for all this nation breeding? The federal taxpayers. Is the United States, are they supposed to do that? No. Article 1, Section 8 says no. You can only do welfare for the United States, and you can't give any money to anybody unless it's a debt. So we do not owe a debt to anybody coming across that border, including the caravan. So they're lucky. They're lucky that we have not switched back to the Constitution, because on that day it's going to be worse than the militia. You'll pray for the militia the way the Constitution do you. So, you know, like I said, I'm able to come here today on this network, BGN. I just love it. You know, they're letting me get a chance to get some messages to you. So, you know, I want you to kind of watch this little clip now. And it's going to tell you the difference between Republicans and Democrats. And it's not to hurt anyone's feeling, you know, because you can watch me, Christine Timmon, Gangster the Constitution, on YouTube all night long, 24/7. You know, you're gonna see me on BGN Network explaining to you. I've told you people over and over and over that the Democrats are out for the destruction of all of America, not just the black people, all of you. Look at how they bring millions of foreigners in here that's not supposed to be here, and they got your job. You got the Muslim blowing up buildings, and all of them, like Trump said, they all breeding. They taking you down. So listen to this clip of this beautiful OAN News lady. She's telling you about the difference between Republicans and Democrats. So why don't we just move forward and watch that clip?
Welcome back. One final point before we go. These are the rules of the Democratic Party. If you're black, you're not allowed to be a Republican. If you're a woman, you're not allowed to be pro-life. If your skin is brown, you're not allowed to like President Trump. And if you don't follow any of the above rules, then you are a white supremacist. Did we ever stop to think that it actually makes a lot of sense that Kanye West supports President Trump? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense that black voters in our country vote 90% of the time for Democrats, when Democrats have spent the last 100 years insulting, demeaning, stereotyping, and holding the black community hostage so that Democrats keep their votes. But you can't rewrite history. Republicans were the ones who voted to abolish slavery in the United States. Guess who opposed abolition? That's right, the Democrats. The Republican Party was formed in Wisconsin in 1854 as an opposition party to slavery. In 1868, Congress passed the 14th Amendment, which gave full citizenship to free slaves. Republicans supported the measure. Guess how many Democrats supported it? 0, none. Republicans were also the ones who recognized black Americans' right to vote. Guess who opposed allowing black Americans to vote? That's right, the Democrats. The KKK was originally founded as an arm of the Southern Democratic Party. The purpose was to terrorize freed slaves and harass Republicans who helped free them. President Eisenhower was the first president to accomplish desegregating the military. Guess which party Eisenhower belonged to? That's right, the Republican Party. Congress passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Guess who voted in favor of the law? That's right, Republicans. 80% of Republicans compared to only 65% of Democrats. The first 21 black Americans elected to the United States Congress were all Republicans. Guess who didn't elect a black congressman until 1935? That's right, Democrats didn't. The first black Republican was elected to the U.S. Senate in 1870. Guess who didn't elect a black senator until 1993? 123 years behind Republicans, Democrats didn't elect a black senator until 1993. Guess which party boasted Robert Byrd, a member of the KKK, as a member of their party? Yeah, the Democrats. Guess which party champions abortion, which has killed 19 million unborn black babies since 1973? That's right, the Democrats. Guess which party lies to black Americans, telling them police shoot them just because they're black? That's right, the Democrats tell that heinous lie, even when a black economics professor at Harvard conducted a study of police data from departments all across the country and found that is not true. Guess which party ignores the gun violence in Chicago, which ends the lives of hundreds of black Americans every single year? That's right, the Democrats ignore that. Guess which party demonizes black Americans, telling them they're not really black, calling them Uncle Toms and traitors if they dare to think for themselves? That's right, the Democrats do. The truth is, Republicans have always fought for the rights of black Americans. Guess who systemically oppressed black people, codified racism in our country, and continues to this day to lie to black Americans, telling them they'll be shot by police if they don't vote Democrat, stirring up racial divide and fear in our nation just to win the black vote? That's right, the Democrats. And that is my final point. You can reach me on Twitter at Liz_Wheeler. If you liked the show, please send me an email at oann.com/contact. In the meantime, catch us here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern. And until then, have a good night.
As you see what I mean? You see what I mean? She was absolutely right. Now, she's on OAN News. I'm on YouTube, WGN News. And so I applaud her, because you don't hear, when you just simply don't hear that. They won't tell you anything like it. You know why? They're all owned by 2 or 3 people. Every news channel in America. You ever notice that the news is all the same except local? Y'all better start paying some darn attention. So now what we're going to do now, we're going to go to this Islamophobia stuff. You know, I am so sick of that. You know, every time you turn on the TV, it's some mess about the Islams or the Muslim trashing Americans. Well, what you over here for? Raise up out of here if you don't like what's going on in America. Get on out of here. It's like that woman, that big fat woman. She weighed about 360 pounds, sitting up there with her belly, talking about dead Barbara Bush with disrespect. So she's from Iran. Now you remember I showed you the clip last week of the girl who she's bragging about her mom is from Iran and she teaches your children. Oh yeah, so you need somebody like her teaching your children. She was sitting up flipping a birdie and she just held that finger up, and she's a college professor from Iran. Is that who's teaching your children? No one of those kids are going nuts with these kind of people in there teaching them. She doesn't know anything about the United States or how to read what we have. What she's got is what the international people, the United Nations, and the Democrats, the laws, the stuff that they made up. None of it's in the Constitution, and it was all done just to disadvantage Americans. So that's what I got to say about that. And also, this thing about the Muslims, they're always bragging about how they got the fastest growing in the world. Well, you remember I told y'all about that. That's the men having 4 and 5 wives. Each one of them have 3 and 4 kids. And I told you about that. And I told you as the time went on that eventually these kids was going to meet each other and likely to marry. Well, that's incest. Well, I'm going to show you a clip from Professor Warren. He's one I could get a hold to a clip. Some of them are saying that the Muslims are 70% inbred. Professor Warren, he's going to talk about 40%, how it comes to be 70%. And then anybody will tell you, any scientist, any doctor will tell you constant inbreeding leads to mental disorders, the lack of acumen to even put 2 and 2 together. You notice how they live? Even though they're from these rich, oil-rich nations, they come to America and other countries begging and whining and slobbering for somebody else to take care of them because they don't really have all these things. You people should Google it. And y'all saw the one I did you of Farrakhan, the time when 200 men just about jumped on that one woman and beat her and slaughtered her in public. I think that comes from just what the scientists say. They're inbred and they have a propensity for violence because they're what they call psychopathic. So we're going to run that clip and let you hear Dr. Warner, what he has to say.
Hi, I'd like to talk to you about a subject that's not frequently mentioned, inbreeding. Do an experiment for yourself. Go to your computer and Google Islam inbreeding, and I think you'll be stunned at the results. You'll find that in the Arab world, 40 to 50% of all marriages are inbred. In Egypt, 40% of the marriages are to a first cousin. In Saudi Arabia, 2/3 of the people who marry a close relative. And in Britain, the Pakistani refugees, 55% of their marriages are to first cousins. Now, the result of inbreeding is genetic damage. You get increased diseases, mental retardation, and lower intelligence. I call inbreeding a crime against the next generation. Now, why is there so much inbreeding in Islam? Well, if you think about it, you know the answer. Because of Muhammad, he married his first cousin, so that makes that process sunnah. The Quran lays out rules of marriage, but it allows first cousins to marry. This is in Quran 4:23. So according to the Sharia, divine law, inbreeding is good. And what are the results of the Sharia? Half of Muslims are inbred, with lower intelligence. Insanity rates are higher with inbred people. And the closer you are in blood relation, the more schizophrenia there is. In Denmark, 3 times as many Muslims fail the military intelligence test as the average Dane. 2/3 of all the Muslims in Denmark are illiterate. And in Denmark, education for slow children, slow learners, accounts for 1/3 of their educational budget. It's expensive to have such people. The Sharia is evil since it dictates the suffering of people as Allah's wish. Now think about this. Islam says it is destined to rule the world. And if it does, inbreeding will be everywhere and humanity will actually devolve. And this can't be changed because the Sharia is Allah's law. But why are we silent about Sharia suffering? Why can't we educate about this harm? How can we go about trying to show that this is wrong? Oh, wait a minute, we can't do this because this would be offensive to Muslims. So we won't be including incest in part of the explanation about the beauty of Islam in our schools. Can we find a Muslim who will say that inbreeding is wrong? Will he abjure this because science agrees it is wrong? Can we run a social program to educate immigrants who come here about genetic damage? Well, as good as that sounds, because it would reduce suffering, that would be Islamophobic. How evil does something have to get before we can talk about it? I want to prevent a crime against the next generation. Am I a bigot to talk? And are you afraid to talk? This is a serious problem and it needs to be addressed. Again, go out and Google Islam and inbreeding and see what you think. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm back again on BGN, YouTube, Christine Timmon, Gangster and Constitution. Listen, now you say what Dr. Warner say. It's plenty more like that. Plenty more. Now, it's not the first time we've had inbreeding, but this inbreeding is done directly from their religion. This is what I've been reading. Their religion, some of them require you to marry your first cousin. Then, as I said, over time, as the inbreeding goes on, you got man got 5 wives. Each one of them got 3 or 4 kids. There's no way you can tell me that one day somebody ain't gonna marry their brother. As what happened in England, they were born in England, and they were split, twins, split at birth. They met each other about 19 or 20 years later, and they fell in love without knowing that they were twin brother and sister. And both of them were talking about how they had been adopted, and they wanted to meet their birth parents. And so they both says, "Well, I'm going to get a chance to meet my birth parent." And so they were saying, "Well, we're going to go to England." Each one of them was going to England. "Oh, your birth parents are in England too?" "Yes." Get there and find out they was going to the same house, that they were twins. And the courts had to annul the marriage, but she was pregnant. And she did not get an abortion. I think that time she definitely should have had one, but she didn't. And you hear what Dr. Warner is saying. He's saying when you do that, when you do all that incest, it's a crime against the next generation. And you see how crazy they act, running all up and down the street, especially overseas there. Overseas, ain't no woman safe. Women can't walk down the street. A gang of Muslim men run and jump on them and rape them. Those men are nuts. They're nuts. I don't know about the ones that was bred here in America, but I know about the ones that's just coming here from overseas. And so that's one of the things that I don't like about the Muslims is their inbreeding, and they're thinking that their religion is so superior to all the other religions. Well, how could you be superior and you don't even know who you are? They don't know who they are. All their little children. It could be 12 children born within one house to 5 different women. I think that's an orgy. I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. And also, what I don't like is this black thing they do all the time. Why you gotta be all in black? I call it the Black Death. They make it look like Black Death walking on the street. It'd be scary. I don't want anybody to be afraid, when I come outside. Because, I've had to wear such garb. I appeared as the specter of death, Shakespeare's specter of death, at a campaign rally where I had a beef with one of the people running for office, and I wanted to expose what they were. But that's the only time that I've ever had to do that. But these women go around looking like the specter of death all the time. Go into a neighborhood like Hamtramck and Dearborn. Oh God, it's scary. Oh, scary. Scarier than midnight. And then who pays for all that stuff? We do, the American citizen. And it's Sharia law mess. Oh my God. Who in the heck want to be bothered with that? In the United States, you don't have to do no religious nothing. That's amendment number 1. If you don't want to have a religion, you don't have to have one. So all this stuff they talking about, some jihad and all of that, that's not in the Constitution. You really want to know the truth? When Mr. Trump did the ban on them, in the Constitution, he's absolutely correct for the defense of nation. Those people are a national security threat. They always have been from the minute they tore down or helped, assisted tearing down the World Trade Center. So I've had my concerns about them ever since. And then when I started studying their religion, about all this inbreeding, and you're supposed to marry your third cousin, and your first cousin, I'm talking about third. You're supposed to marry your cousin, period. Some 2/3 have to marry their cousin. So you already starting out with incest. And then you're going to have 3 or 4 wives besides that. Some of them might be... That's why they're the fastest growing religion, because of all this incestuous behavior. It has nothing to do with other nations coming in there and marrying them. No, that's not it. It's all about incest and marrying your close relatives. And like I told you before, they have their babies in puppy mills. We have to take care of all this. This is what the Democrats love. And if you say something about it, they go to hiding about some Islamophobia. And it's not about Islamophobia. If you're not scared of them, you should be. But it's not about that. It's about we should not have to support them. The Constitution does not require it. The only thing that requires it is all these laws that the Democrats wrote and the United Nations, especially the U.S. Immigration Nationality Act. That sucker makes us pay them and all of these foreigners. So that's why I get mad, with the Democrats. And talking about their babies are citizens. That's not true. The Founding Fathers wasn't that stupid. They didn't fix a way for foreigners to breed their own citizens and breed a nation within our nation. We got so many nations within our nation now. The Constitution say that naturalizing got to be uniform. The only thing that can be different is each state is supposed to be the way they come through anyway. But when they get through the state process and they go to be naturalized, then that has to be done all the same. That means everybody's got to speak English. You can have your own religion, but you can't run for office on the religion and all that like the Muslims doing. You can't do that. But you see, they don't realize that the Constitution doesn't allow it, because the Democrats, if they can help it, it will never come out. They're not supposed to do that. But I believe that one of these days this is going to happen, because we're coming so close to constitutional law. And now they think they're so big and bad, all these states and all these sanctuary cities. If they had to go by the Constitution, they would have to support every one of them on their own welfare system. Then they would have to pay the United States about $200 for each one of them that they register. Anybody not registered will be thrown out immediately, as Jeff Sessions say. That's what's in the Constitution. Right now, they're getting away with a lot of things that they're not supposed to do. So in a way, the Constitution kind of forbids Islam and Muslim, because they say that you cannot practice what you want to. If you do, then you risk your life. So they can be thrown out of here just for that. Now you get the picture. You get the picture. Be very, very careful. Be very, very careful with those people, and they hate Americans. I can just tell you right now. You saw that woman, the one that was messing with Barbara Bush after her death, holding up the birdie. She just sat there and just held the birdie up. And then you saw the one about the Muslim woman up there in New York buying $500 worth of pop with food stamps. You heard what she said, F America. They all think like that. So anyway, you've got the skinny, watch those inbred Muslims. So what we're going to do now, first of all, I'd like to thank BGN Network, and I'd like to thank YouTube. Thank you, YouTube. I'm getting the chance to get out here with all of them. Gangster of the Constitution, Christine Timmon. Really, really thanks YouTube, because people have to hear another side of the story. Because you can listen to YouTube, you can watch any of them all night long, and you're not going to hear not one word of the Constitution, because they don't know it. And that's what's holding us back, the lack of knowledge of the Constitution. You guys don't even know how much money they owe you, because you don't know what's in the Constitution that don't let them give away your money to nobody. So we've discussed that before, so we'll maybe save that for the next show. And the final thing I'd like to discuss before we get to, we're going to do part 2. We're going to do part 2 of the Medicare reform. Well, there's talking about the national anthem is racist and all of that. Well, I have to disagree with that, because the national anthem was a protest song. And he lucky that he didn't get beat up or worse, because he was protesting. How can you have all these bombs blaring and red glaring and rockets and all this stuff, yet you got a race of people enslaved? That's what he was trying to tell them. Shortly after that song came out, the Republicans bust up to start fighting slavery, because that was the word of the day. That was a protest song. That song didn't mean in any way to continue slavery. Nope. It was just telling y'all call yourself all this celebrating, but what are you doing to these other people, such and such? So that's what I got to say about that. But of course, people, like the football players, the final thing on them is, they can get sued by whoever bought that time. See, when you have a football, any sports show is paid for by someone else, some beer company or shoe company or whatever. And if you want to do something on that time, other than what they advertising for, you're supposed to get written permission from them. And you're supposed to get written permission from the government too, because the taxpayers put in billions of dollars. So you can't just go and have your own free-for-all and do your, whatever your belief is. You can't do it on that time, because it was paid for by the government and the doggone advertisers. And they look at the stupid advertisers. They ain't got sense enough to know that they were supposed to sue them. They're supposed to get that money back from them. So I hope they going to chill out on that and stop worrying about it. Because the reason I didn't like it, because they discriminated against Donald Trump. Because when all the 800 and some men was getting shot down by the police, and none of the blacks were getting the job training programs, it was all going to the Syrians and the Iranians and the Latinos and the Cubans and the what they call the DACA people. Didn't do a darn thing for the African Americans, except make sure that enough of them got shot. So when these people come here, they look down on the black community because of Obama. He didn't say a word about those people being shot by the police. Not a word. He didn't say no job training, and they just didn't do nothing. So that's what I didn't like about it. They wait right good until some white man get elected, and then here they come on their knees, and the man don't even know them. He just got there. You should have protested the shooting of blacks when the mulatto was in there. See, because Obama's not black, he's a mulatto. One parent white and one black. So now let's get to part 2 on BGN and YouTube, Gangster of the Constitution. We're fixing to get to part 2. And so my director, are you ready to roll with Barbara? All right. Here we have Barbara Sharif, the mayor of Broward County. Now, it's not an elected position, it's an appointed position. And as I told you guys on the last show, we went into Medicare fraud extensively. Extensively, we covered that. And so what we're going to do today, we're going to go into how deep the government is in it. Now, we talked about the state and their involvement in it, but now we have the vice mayor of Broward County. She had to make this big settlement in a Medicaid overbilling case. I'll read some of it. And guess what I found out? Y'all, I just found this out today when I was researching her. I didn't know she was involved in some mess with Broward County as well as her own clinic. Okay, it says on Friday at 4:55 p.m., Broward County sent out a press release lauding Vice Mayor Barbara Sharif for her role in saving county taxpayers $11.5 million. The state and county had been fighting about which of them would pay the disputed costs from Medicaid. The state sent Broward a bill for $15.5 million. The county eventually, in a deal that was expected to be finalized Tuesday night, they got away with paying just $4.5 million in savings. Sharif, a former nurse who went on to run her own healthcare company, South Florida Pediatric Home Care, had testified in the proceedings. It was ironic because just 2 days earlier, Sharif had been in the news because her company had been accused of overbilling Medicaid nearly $500,000 between 2007 and 2011, and she settled and agreed to pay $588,899,000, it looks like, which include the amount she overpaid plus nearly $1,000 in fine. Originally, it was about $2 million. So there you have it. It's not just the state. The county. See, that the money that the county didn't pay was your money. They just took it. And Sharif, she only paid a certain amount of what they were accused of taking. In other words, she go to Tallahassee and get with them and get herself off, and then she go back to Tallahassee and get with the Tallahassee people and got Broward County saved, what, $11 million. So what's going on? What's going on in the state of Florida? Why the state of Florida got to do all of this absconding with Medicaid and Medicare money? What's up with that? You know, now I don't know if whether or not she's one of the ones who are license exempt. You remember last month I should say, we discussed the ones who are license exempt. You remember where all they have to do is just show that you could be licensed because you've been to school and everything, but you choose to be license exempt so that you don't have to do anything that the states say do. You own your own, you private, you get in your stuff and you get out of it on your own. Don't even have to have insurance. Don't have to do nothing. So I told you that when I found that letter, I got a letter from the governor's office letting me know that the stuff that I was in with one of the clinics, the clinic had absolutely no power to take me to court for any reason. And the court had absolutely no power to dismiss any case I had against them because they are license exempt. And they don't get state oversight. So it's only one paragraph, so I'll read it to you. We won't say the name of the clinic. It says, Dear Miss Timmon, oh no, at the top, Rick Scott Governor, Justin M. Senior Secretary, Dear Miss Timmon, This group is a large facility with many individual centers within it. This entity does have a license from our agency, but it also has an active exemption for healthcare clinic licensure. This means that the facility has met the criteria to be exempt from requiring an actual license from our agency, and thus the oversight that comes with it. When you go as license exempt, you're done with the state. You can't use state statutes, nothing if you get hauled into court. But they got away with it. So you say, why did they get away with it? I'll read you why. Remember last month, I was trying to go over FS 760.102, but I didn't have my papers all together. But that was a good thing because it gave you an opening into it. Now I got it together. Listen to this, people. Listen to how they ripping off everybody in the country. The state of Florida has ripped off in the last 20 years enough money to pay for Medicare for everybody in this country, either by gross flat out stealing it or making up laws so that they say 95% of them are foreigners, so the foreigners can walk off with billions and put it in the Cuban National Bank and other offshore banks. Okay, here's what it said. FS 766.102. Medical negligence, standards of recovery, and all that stuff. Here's what it say, number one. Any action for recovery of damages based on the death or personal injury of any person in which it is alleged that such death or injury resulted from the negligence of a healthcare provider, the claimant shall have the burden of proof by the greater weight of evidence that the alleged action of the healthcare provider presented a breach of the prevailing professional standard of care for that provider. The prevailing professional standard of care for a given healthcare provider shall be that level of care, skill, and treatment which, in light of all relevant surrounding circumstances, is recognized as acceptable and appropriate by reasonably prudent similar healthcare providers. So if all the healthcare providers are messing with you, then the rest of them can do the same. Then when it goes down to the bottom, it says the existence of a medical injury does not create any inference or presumption of negligence against a healthcare provider, and any records, policies, or testimony of an insurance reimburses policy or determination regarding the case provided to the plaintiff is not admissible as evidence in any medical negligence. So if you can't come up with your medical records, how you gonna win? And then you can't get an attorney no way because of this FS 760.102. And then number 13, what did number 13 say here? Number 13 says, a healthcare provider's failure to comply with or breach any federal requirement is not admissible as evidence in any medical negligence case in this state. So now you see where all the money at? And it's more to it than that. But that's a plenty for you today. I read you the letter from Rick Scott saying that if they are unlicensed, then you can sue them. But the courts won't let you steal. Because once they start doing that, then Medicare start getting paid. They got some kind of thing against paying for Medicare. So that's it on that today. I want to show you just one cute little clip today before we go off. I know everybody know Diamond and Silk, but I found something even cuter. What are they named? Pearl and Satin. So let's go right now to that clip, Pearl and Satin.
Y'all, so I'm sitting up here watching my TV and I'm really upset. Okay, I want to come right now for Eminem.
Eminem.
Okay, first of all, you really have a problem.
Problem.
Okay, I know what your problem is.
Problem.
Your grandmother didn't feed you a home-cooked meal when you was young, okay?
Hungry.
No mashed potatoes.
Hungry.
No meatloaf.
Hungry.
No gravy.
Hungry.
No biscuits.
Hungry.
And that's why your skinny ass needs to sit down.
Because you're hangry.
Okay, don't come for Donald Trump, Eminem, unless he sinned for you, okay? Okay, Donald Trump did not do anything to you, okay? If you want to come for Donald Trump, first of all, you need to sit your ass down and eat a tuna casserole.
Eat a casserole.
All right? Because it is clear that your nutritional value is going basically to your brain and letting us know that you malnourished.
Nourished.
Okay, so before you want to come for him,
Don't come.
sit down and have a plate of meatballs.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Moving
all right?
on.
Well, I want to talk to Megyn Kelly.
Talk to her.
Okay, because this skinny hoe, okay,
Pardon my French.
okay, she is still talking mess. Okay,
Mess.
no, she not talking because she don't have no show no more.
She ain't got no show no more.
She on Twitter talking a whole bunch of stuff.
Twitter fingers.
Okay, you know what? Before you decide to tweet about our man Donald Trump, you need to sit down
Sit all the way down.
and have a ham sandwich.
Eat some carbs, girl.
Okay, I'm talking lettuce, tomato,
Cheese.
mayo, pickle, onion, and all of that.
And some bacon.
Okay, because while you sitting up here running around for the Democratic Party,
That's what she did.
you starving as well.
Switching sides.
Okay, so sit it down, girl.
Sit all the way down.
And while you're sitting down, have a talk with Kathy Griffin.
Oh.
Okay? And let's see if really what she doing is she still making jokes.
Oh.
Okay? Instead of making jokes, Kathy, you need to sit down and make yourself an apple pie.
Eat a pie, girl.
Okay? Eat an apple pie and then you'll learn what patriotism is.
Get some hips.
Okay? I'm mad as hell.
Hell.
That you had a nerve, Kathy,
nerve.
to chop off a head and think it was funny that you was gonna hold it up like that was Donald Trump's.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you
pork chops?
chop? That's right. Cut up some pork chops and sit your skinny ass all the way
Sit down, old ginger.
all the way down.
All the way
okay?
down.
And while you sitting down, okay, pick up the phone and call your friend Hillary Clinton.
Ooh.
Okay, you know what? They done made me mad.
Oh,
I
you
didn't
mad.
really
My
want to
sister
go
mad.
there. I didn't really want to go there.
Let's go there.
Hillary.
Let's go down.
But the reason why your man was probably running around
Woo.
is because you don't know how to cook a home cooked meal.
Woo.
Okay? If you knew how to get your
AAASSS
in the kitchen
in the kitchen.
and fry up some chicken like a real woman.
A real woman.
A real woman
A real
knows how to
woman.
do. He wouldn't have been running around all over town,
Backsliding.
backsliding, and getting all types of attention to his Polish kielbasa. Okay,
Okay. Yep.
get your
in the kitchen.
in the kitchen,
And
fry up some chicken
some tater salad.
for your man and your daughter.
You right.
Before you try to step into politics, or should I say politics? Because you full of tricks.
Ooh,
Just
tricky.
like the Democratic Party.
Pimp.
Look, the whole Democratic Party need to sit down
All the way down.
to a home-cooked meal.
Sit down, the devil.
Sit down and have some American food.
American food. Be
Patriotic food.
Patriotic
Apple
food.
pie.
Apple pie.
Hot dog.
Hot dog.
Mashed potatoes.
Taters.
Okay? Sit all the way down and know what it is to eat an American meal
American
and to
meal.
be an American like our man Donald Trump.
That's right.
You didn't see our man Donald Trump running around eating just any old everything.
He wasn't.
No,
He wasn't.
no, because we are about to be at war
At
with
war.
North Korea.
Korea.
Okay? While other unpatriotic Americans are still running around eating Korean food.
Eating bibimbap.
You eating bibimbap.
Bibimbap.
You eating bulgogi.
Eat bulgogi.
You doing everything under the sun but being an American.
You need to drink a cola pop.
Look, our man Donald Trump is patriotic. He don't eat nothing but American.
He eats dollar bills and gold plates.
Okay?
Gold
Okay?
plates.
That's what our man Donald
poops
Trump
out gold.
is doing.
He poops
All
out
right?
gold.
If he's going to build a wall, he's going to keep all the nachos out. All the refried beans out.
All out.
All the Korean chicken wings out.
Get him out of here.
All the fried rice out.
Get him out.
build a wall around all these grocery stores.
Yeah, build a wall.
And tell them, buy American.
Buy American.
So American can be great again.
That's right.
So we can eat better again.
Again.
Okay? So to all of those people that I named, don't come for Donald Trump.
Don't you come for our man.
And let Donald Trump come for you.
Don't let him come for you. We don't play that game.
Have a drink.
Ooh, got our blood pressure up.
All right, guys, we got a couple of minutes left here on BGN and YouTube, Gangster the Constitution Show. Listen, I know they were cute as a little button, so I'm going to close out by telling you, under what Governor Rick Scott sent me the truth about Florida medical system, that group of people still owe me millions of dollars because the judges had no call to dismiss my case because y'all heard the governor told y'all it says they don't get oversight. So they came up in court using all this FS such and such and such and Florida statute such and such and such. And I'm just sitting there and I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was, so I had to take all those dismissals. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to waltz right into U.S. District Court on lack of due process. That's what I'm going to do. Not now, because we haven't got to the Medicare part yet, and I just don't really feel like it right now because I know I talk a big game, but sometimes that's a long way. I have to go all the way back to Florida to do that. I don't feel like doing it now. And there's another issue that they put in there that I know they can't do it, but I'm going to let them get away with it, saying I can't file no more cases for 5 years. Well, it's been 3 years, so I only got a year and a half left, and then I can bust out the federal case. Oh, wow. So anyway, people, I enjoyed talking to you guys. Love you. And anything I say, you can find it on that computer. I just wish you guys, if y'all could just learn the Constitution, you talk about something that make you happy. Once you know what the truth is, and you see how somebody been ripping you off, they not supposed to give your money to no foreigner. No. If your money goes to a foreigner, it's supposed to be through state law that the citizens of the state vote on in a referendum. You don't just march over the United States and start jumping on the welfare. That was the Democrats who did that, and the United Nations and all the international such and such people, the ones who invented that international asylum and international amnesty. Well, you can't get amnesty no way, because that one say you got to be in prison, convicted of a crime, and the governor of your state can amnesty you out. All this throwing these blankets over everybody in the world, that's got to stop. And I'm glad that Attorney General Jeff Sessions has started the ball rolling on that one, because I was about to get mad enough to start going down there and start busting a few heads myself. You know what I'm saying? But or bring the Texas militia. How y'all like that Texas militia? Shoot, they not playing. You see that caravan didn't go anywhere near Texas. They ain't crazy. They know better, and they've been doing that now for about 10 or 15 years. This is nothing new, and they got the same leaders. So that tells you that this is not an asylum. This is a way to come in and take over America, get on our welfare, and start breeding their own citizens and breeding their own nations like weeds. We're going to pull up every one of those weeds. We're going to use the Constitution, and they look up and they'll be back in their own home country, including the Muslims. So y'all have a great month, and keep watching BGN Network. Subscribe to the network, and YouTube. You got to keep watching YouTube. Got to keep watching YouTube. See you later.